Good afternoon. My name is John Pyron, and I'm the lead sales trainer for Eric Law Home International. And this webinar and this video is designed for you, the brand new trainer, or if you've been in the trainer business as an ELI trainer for several months or even a couple of years, and you're looking for a fresh start, and you just need that clean slate to get going, this webinar is definitely for you. On this webinar, we're going to talk about the first 30 days. So if you're just getting started as an ELI trainer, I'm going to be going step by step what you need to accomplish within the first 30 days. But before I begin, let me share with you a quick story here. There was a preacher in the Midwest who used to travel from town to town in the late 1800s, and he would go around and he would give these amazing speeches. In fact, it became so popular that people would come from hundreds of miles away to hear this guy speak. When he would throw up a tent, people would be standing room only. People would be cutting holes in the tent to hear this guy's amazing talk. Until one town. And he came to this one town, he did exactly what he always does. He threw up a big tent, went around the hillside, invited everyone to come hear the sermon on Sunday afternoon at 12 o'clock. And Sunday afternoon came around, and 12 o'clock, and no one was there. 12:10, no one was there. Finally, about 12:15, this one lone cowboy comes riding down the street there, hitches his horse to the stake there, comes in, sits down in the front row, and is ready to hear the amazing speech. The preacher's beside himself. He doesn't know what to do. He comes off the stage, and he goes, "Cowboy, cowboy, cowboy. I have never had this happen before. What should I do?" Cowboy shrugs his shoulders, says, "I don't know, just a cowboy. But I tell you this, if I went out to feed my herd and only one showed up, I'd feed it." Preacher says, "You know what, you're absolutely right." Hops back up on stage, and for the next hour and a half gives one of the most amazing speeches he's ever given in his entire life. Sweat dripping down, breathing heavily, he comes off stage. "Cowboy, cowboy, oh my God, wasn't that an amazing speech? Dude, that was the best one I've ever given. What do you think?" Cowboy, looking distressed, shrugs his shoulders, says, "You know what, man, I have no idea. I am just a cowboy. I told you that in the beginning. But I tell you this, though. If I went out to feed my herd and only one showed up, I'd feed it. But I wouldn't dump the whole load on it. And so I'm not going to dump the whole load on you today. What I am going to talk about is how to generate leads. I'm going to talk about the first 30 days specifically, how to generate leads. I'm going to talk about marketing touches and how to market your ELI business. I'm going to talk about how to set appointments for conference calls, webinars, front-of-the-room talks, and individual sales consults. I'm going to talk about how to do an effective, what we call in the ELI trainer business, a boss talk. But before I do that, let me tell you a little bit about my background. I was born at a very early age. And one of the things that whenever I hear anybody talk or anybody give a speech, and they're going to teach me or tell me how to build a business, there's always three questions I have. Number one, who are you? Number two, what have you done and accomplished in business if you're going to teach me about business? And number three, what's in it for me? And so a little bit about my background is I've been in sales about 23 years. About 24 years ago, I met this guy right here to the right, a guy named Dave Vanny. And Dave Vanny became my very first sales mentor. I had no idea what sales was about. I didn't like salespeople. I was an engineer right out of Hewlett Institute of Technology in Sacramento. I had worked at Hewlett Packard in Roseville. I did not deal with people. And furthermore, I didn't want to deal with people. And Dave took me under his wing. I joined a network marketing company, which Dave was a part of. He was one of the top leaders. He was a multi-millionaire at the time. he took me under his wing. He taught me how to sell. He taught me how to contact people. He taught me what a script was. He taught me how to, generate leads and how to set appointments and how to run those appointments. And it was through my relationship with Dave, it was through this guy's coaching that in January of 1997, I decided to go and get my first sales job. So I'd become successful in network marketing, but I really didn't want to do that anymore. I wanted to build a different type of business. So I went and worked for an IT company and continued to coach and be mentored by Dave, and ultimately became #1 in sales at that company. And then if you've ever worked for a company for any period of time, especially a small business who's never really had any huge success, the owner of that company became very greedy. And he comes to me one day in March of 2001. Actually, I take it back, March of 2003. And he says, you know what, John, your compensation plan is screwed up. And I said, you know what, Don? That's fine. He changed it. Of course, it wasn't in my best interest. And so, hold on just a second. I got a little technology thing here. Okay, so working, basically he changed my comp plan. Cut me 29%. That ticked me off so much that I went back and I started coaching with Dave. And I told Dave, I said, hey, here's what happened. What do I do? He says, you know what? Go out and build your team. Go out and build your team and make them successful and get your numbers right back up to where they were and then go look for a different job. So I went and looked for a different job. Continued to coach with Dave, became #1 in sales there, and guess what they did? They changed my the compensation plan and reduced my compensation plan and increased my quota. It was that decision, it was that action that in December of 2005, I hired my first business coach, a guy named Mike Sastry. I went to Mike and I said, I'm done. I'm not going to work for somebody ever again. I want you to form me a corporation. I'm going to borrow $10,000 from my mother-in-law, and I'm rocking and rolling. So January 6, 2006, I launched Intelligent Business Network Solutions. It was an IT-based company in Sacramento. And working with Dave as my sales coach, working with Mike as my business coach, and humbling myself and just submitting to their instruction and absolutely being ticked off at my ex-employer, I ended up taking that company and building it from a $10,000 loan for my mother-in-law to $352,000 the first year, $685,000 the third year, and $1,037,000 the third year. And I was so ticked off that I just did exactly what I was being told to do, because I wanted to accomplish this goal right here. This is a center page article in the Sacramento Business Journal, and it talks about 2007 through 2009 growth of 63.9%. Now, this is the second year I made the fastest growing companies list. The first year was 2006 to 2008, when I went from 0 to $1 million. And then I maintained that volume and I grew it even further into a higher percentage the following year. And that's when they did this center page article, because it was in a down economy. Nobody was doing this type of growth in a down economy in my sector. And I'm showing you this not to say that I'm a big deal or anything, but it's simply this. I hired the best coach I could find. I worked with the best sales coach, the best business coach, and I had a dream. And my dream was to end up in the center page article of this, and I went down, I got 3 copies of this. And I went down to the framing store in the mall. I spent about $60 a piece to have 3 custom framed pictures with this on the thing. Then I went over to the FedEx store and I FedExed those framed pictures to my ex-employers, and I said, thank you very much for motivating me and pissing me off enough to build a business. Okay? Now, why do I share this? Because if you're listening to this recording, if you're on this webinar, if you're watching the recorded webinar, I want to ask you this. Why are you in the trainer business? Why did you sign up as an ELI trainer? Why do you want to build a business? the most important thing is to understand why. What is your dream? See, I had that kind of success because I wasn't concerned about motivating or it had nothing to do with what my wife wanted, what my friends wanted, what my mom or dad wanted, or anything. It was my dream, and I was passionate about that. Now, fast forward, long story short, hire a business partner. In fact, what's interesting is I'm going through the exact same thing right now in building my ELI trainer business. And so in December last year, 2013, in fact, the week before Thanksgiving, I had a consulting contract, okay? And they cut that contract. My income went down to 0 the week before Thanksgiving. And so I decided to build an ELI trainer business. I'd been in the trainer business for a while, and I'll get into how I got there in just a second. But here's the point. The reason I'm in a position to teach this webinar is very simply this. I have been in a situation where I've succeeded in sales. I've been in a situation where I built a business from nothing to $1 million. I've been in a situation where this very company right here, I had a business partner. We brought on the third business partner, and it became a big fight, and both partners ended up leaving. It was a mess. I lost about 70% of my business in September and October of 2011. It took me 9 months to rebuild it. I had to fire every single employee. And I remember working 7 days a week for almost 5 or 6 months in a row. Terrified, scared to death, absolutely determined not to go back to work for somebody. And I was able to rebuild it. And in May of 2012, 2 years ago this very month, I was sitting down with a friend of mine, a guy named Richard. And I was burnt out. I was absolutely burnt out. See, there's this statistic in business, and it says most small businesses fail within the first 5 years. And of the 5%, it says 95% of all businesses fail in the first 5 years, and of the 5% that remain, 85% of those people fail in the next 10 years because they either burn out, they don't create systems to run their business, or they lose their dream. And I found myself in that position in May of 2012. Sitting down talking with my buddy Richard, we're smoking a cigar, and life happens by a very thin thread. And he says, what are you going to do? And I said, you know what? I love teaching, I love coaching. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to develop my own products, I'm going to develop my own systems, I'm going to go and teach sales. That's what I'm going to do. And it was that question that changed my entire future and my entire life, because Richard told me about this guy named Eric Laughlin. I had never met Eric, never heard of him, didn't know anything about him. And I was prepared to go down and get a small business loan for about $250,000 to invest in infrastructure, branding, website, all that stuff to build a sales training company. And then I was going to go through the hard part of getting known, which could take anywhere from 5 to 10 to 15 years. And Richard told me about Eric, and he said, you know, Eric's got a 15-year track record. He's got a 15-year run on you. He just started a trainer program. And he told me about that program, and I got fired up. I didn't even meet Eric. I didn't watch a Silver Protege program. I didn't even know what any of that stuff was. Jenny Campbell kept trying to close and explain to me all about the trainer program. I said, just give me the form. I'm going to pay. I'm going to give you the check. I'm going to sign up. I didn't even know. You know what I was buying? I was buying a system, because I had just built a business and lost 70% of it and rebuilt it because I had a system in place. And I was looking to sell that and get out of it and either build another system or buy an existing system. And so that's how I got in the trainer program. Long story short, I'm at an event 3 months later, and Eric says, let me welcome up here my best trainer, a guy named Richard. And I'm like, that's Richard, the guy that got me in. And I said, this is the best you got? I was fired up. The trainer program was brand new. We didn't have any of the stuff that you guys have today. We had Eric and a trainer manual, and that was it. And I got excited because it's doing something that has not been done before. Yes, Eric has had a lot of success building an ELI business, right? But let's face it, none of us were there 15 years ago when he started. We don't know what that was like. And see, there's one thing to come into somebody's business when it's already successful and it's already moving, but it's another thing to come in and see somebody do it from scratch. And so that's why I'm excited to teach this module, is because I started from zero on December 2nd of this last year, and now I'm at where, my business does well over $10,000 a month in income for me. And I'm going to talk about step by step on this webinar how I did it. I'm going to give you step by step what you need to accomplish in the first 30 days, what you need to accomplish in 60 days, what you need to accomplish in 90 days, and then ultimately where you're going to be 4 and 5 months into it, exactly where I'm at right now. And you're going to have more momentum after 3 to 4 months. You're not going to be able to stop the growth. See, I'm in a position now where I can't even stop the growth. I've generated so many systems that I'm going to share with you today that I can't even stop it. And so let's talk about it. I got 2 outcomes for this webinar today. Number 1 is I'm going to give you a game plan for the first 30 days as an ELI trainer. Next, I'm going to give you a game plan for building a $1 million business. That's right, a $1 million trainer consulting business. How do I know how this is going to work? Because I rehired my business coach, Mike. Sat down with him last Wednesday. I said, I got 5 months into it. I'm going to hire my first employee next week. And we're ready to rock, dude. We've been here before, Mike. Okay? Exactly where I'm at in May of 2014 is exactly where I was at in May of 2006. And the difference is it's a whole different industry, but there's nothing different about business. It still comes down to hard work, having systems in place, being connected with the right people, hiring people that are better than me to help me build my business. And the same goes for you. So you're on the right webinar, because over the next 3 to 5 years, you're going to watch me build a $1 million trainer business. And if you want to accomplish the same thing, all you have to do is do exactly what I'm talking about. I'm going to be sharing every single thing with the trainers on exactly what I'm doing, and all you got to do is duplicate what I'm doing. And guess what? 3 to 5 years from now, you will build a $1 million business if that's what your goal and vision is. The most important thing is not so much the money. It's the person that you're going to become in order to accomplish that. Because anytime you set a big goal like that, there are going to be obstacles that immediately go into place that you're going to have to overcome in order to get there. And I think it's God's way of saying, you know what, you really want to do that. You really want to hit that big goal. Well, we need to prepare you emotionally, mentally, and as an individual in order to be able to accept and receive that. And I'm excited for every single one of you, because you're not alone in this, okay? If you've never built a business, no problem. Guess what? I have. And I'm going to teach you exactly how to do it. And I'm so excited for your future. So let's hop into it. What's the first 30 days look like? Well, number 1 is you need to check out the ELI Trainer Manual. Okay? Every single one of you got the ELI Trainer Manual. The new website's going to always have the latest revision of that trainer manual up there. You want to absolutely master that manual. That manual was my saving grace when I first got started. I took that manual and a phone call with Eric, and basically I just said, okay, here's what I did, what do I do? Here's what I did, what do I do? Here's what I did, what do I do? I didn't wait to have all my ducks in a row before I went and gave a talk. And we're going to talk about how you get your first talk as soon as you want. You can have a talk on Tuesday if you want. I'm going to show you how to do that. But master that manual, okay? And I'm going to give you some specifics on where you need to focus in that manual today. Number two, we need to build the infrastructure, okay? Just because you signed up as a trainer doesn't mean that that's it. This is a business. If you want to build a business, you're going to have to invest in your business. The nice thing about building an ELI trainer business is it's a very, very minimal, low overhead investment. And we're going to talk step by step what you need to do there. Next, you need to get your PowerPoint going. Okay? I'm going to give you access to 3 main PowerPoints. I'm going to show you how to customize them to you and your personality and get you ready to go out and give your very first talk or webinar or conference call. Next is we're going to talk about the importance of Roleplay Friday and the importance of role-playing with one another. Next, we're going to talk about how to generate leads. Over the next 3 days, you're going to learn how to generate leads, and you're going to have systems in place where you're not going to be able to stop it. And then what's going to end up happening is 2, 3, 4 months from now, you're going to have more leads and more appointments than you can even get to. I have leads right now. I mean, I got people calling me all the time wanting me to either speak for them or wanting me to give them a coaching session. I don't have enough time. I did 29 coaching sessions this week. I signed up 5 coaching clients at $500 a month each. Listen to what I'm saying. 5 months ago, or actually, what is it, 6 months ago, the Thursday before Thanksgiving, my income went to 0. That meant the week of Thanksgiving and Thanksgiving at my house, at the Pyron House, was very, very interesting. I was scared to death. I have a wife, I have a kid to support, and I had no income. Actually, I take it back. I had 2 coaching clients paying me $300 a month each, so my income was $600. My wife wasn't working. Actually, she cleaned houses, so she had $140 a month coming in. So we had, between us, we had $740 a month in income. Neither one of us had a job. Neither one of us wanted a job, and now we're going to go into the month of December and Christmas. Fast forward, May 19th, the week of May 19th, 2014. Between last Thursday and today, I brought in 6 coaching clients, 5 this week, 1 last week, all at $500 a piece. That's $3,000 a month in reoccurring revenue. And I'm going to teach you step by step how to do that. And it all starts with generating leads. Next, I'm going to teach you how to book an appointment. I want you in revenue right away. Within the first 30 days, you should be able to book appointments and start making money right away. There's no reason to wait to figure it all out. And I'm going to give you step-by-step instructions on how to do that. So let's talk about the ELI Trainer Manual. Let me get this going over here. Okay, so this is the manual. You all should have access to this. Okay? And here's what I want you to do. I want you to go through this manual. Okay? And the places I want you to focus on right away, okay, is number 1, go through it in its entirety. Read every single page, every single word in its entirety. Once you did that, I want you to go back and I want you to focus on a couple of different areas. Number 1 is I want you to master, absolutely master the close. Okay, so let's see, Unstoppable Selling Scripts. So it's on page 28. Okay, so step number 1 is I want you to print out the close and I want you to memorize it over and over and over and over again. I want you to role play it. If you don't have anybody to role play, I want you to go grab some stuffed animals I want you to sit down in front of a couch, and I want you to pitch that close to those stuffed animals. Whatever it takes. Okay, the close is the most important part of the entire presentation. You can screw everything else up, but if you screw up the close, it's going to affect your sales results. So start with the close. Next is I want you to focus on learning the script, learning the boss talk. Very important to learn the boss talk, and we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. Okay? But the most important thing is to be on every single trainer call every single week, or go back and listen to the recordings. We have a mastermind call at 7 a.m. Pacific time every Monday. Eric leads a 10 a.m. public speaking mastery call every Tuesday to teach you how to do a presentation, front of the room talk, conference call, webinar, or coaching. I lead a business building specific call on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And then on Friday from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock, we have Roleplay Friday. It's your opportunity to either practice your webinar presentation, practice your conference call presentation, or come there and role play with me one-on-one. We can handle objections back and forth, your appointment setting script, whatever you want to practice. It's your 15 minutes to do whatever you want and receive one-on-one coaching. Okay? On Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays, each one of you as a trainer have the opportunity to lead the trainer call. So for 1 hour, it's your show. You can practice your speech. You can deliver the entire silver presentation and practice it. You can do role play with people. You can coach. You can do whatever you want with that hour. Okay? And so if you want to be on one of those calls, you simply send me an email. And at the end of the presentation today, you'll see my email. Okay? So that's what I want you to do with the trainer manual. All right, let me go back to presentation here. Next, we need to talk about infrastructure. And we can't talk about infrastructure. The very first investment you need to make in your ELI trainer business is a database. Okay? You need a database that has a CRM component. A CRM stands for Customer Relationship Manager. But you need a database where you can keep all your leads that you get. And here's what I qualify as a lead. I need their name, I need their email address, and I need their phone number. Okay? And they either need to be a salesperson or they need to be a leader of a sales team. And I need a place to put them because I need to be able to email them. If I'm going to run email campaigns, I need to be able to have a database to put them in. Okay? Now, if you have no money, no problem. You can start off with a free database. Free database would be something like Zoho CRM. That's spelled Z-O-H-O-C-R-M. It's a free database. If you have some money and you're able to, you can invest into an ELI branded website, which is a database as well. And I'll show you that here in a second. In fact, let me show you that right now because I'm 44 and I'll probably forget. And so let's go ahead and go over there. This is what it looks like. It's $49 a month. The first month is free, and it's your database, and it's an Eric Lawfulm branded database. It's a very good way to get started. The only challenge here is you cannot customize this site, and that's not a problem. Okay, so the company that owns this is a company called Toolsrock. And so one of the things that's in place is you can start with this. This is what I'd recommend you start because the back-end database you own. You own the database. It's yours. And it's a direct relationship between you and Toolsrock. None of the leads that go into here go into Eric Law Firm International. They are yours and yours exclusively. And once you get to a point where you want to build your own custom site, you can either have them build it and you can use their database on the back end, or you can build your own database or own website. So this is my website, and I have my own web guy. Okay, he does content writing for me. And I have the person that manages this website, and I'm going to teach you how to not have to pay for that. I provide them one-on-one coaching in exchange for their services. So I don't pay for any of my web work, any of my video work, anything like that. And what I've done is I've created my own site here. Okay? And then under free group sales training, I'm going to make some modifications next week where I have my own video up here. But for now, I need a video. And so it redirects them to my Eric Law Firm branded website. Okay? So for $0, you can get this database. So you can do Zoho, or my recommendation, sign up for a Toolsrock website. And if you can't be in action and do what I'm talking about over the next 30 days, then guess what? Your business is going to cost you money instead of making you money. And I want it to make you money. Let's go back to our PowerPoint here. Okay, so database. Next is we're going to create your structure. Okay, inside your database, you're going to need a structure. And you're going to create 8 groups. See if I can find the groups here. I want you to create 8 groups when you get in there. Okay, if you do a Toolsrock system, it's called categories. Okay, but you're going to create 9 groups. You're going to create group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4, group 5, group 6, group 7, group 8, group 9. Okay, and you want to categorize them in this manner, and I'll show you why here in just a second. But you got to get your structure created within the first 30 days. Next, we talked about an ELI branded website, and I just showed you that. So we will be posting by Tuesday the information on how you get that site. I'm finalizing the deal with the CEO over the weekend. Everything has been tested. It's been verified. I have my own site up and running. I've been the guinea pig. Okay, I've worked with these guys over the last year because when they first launched it, it sucked, to be quite honest. But we've made some modifications, and it's definitely ready for prime time. So I have the information for that. Next, you want to get yourself a conference bridge. Okay, that's yours. And you can get it for free. And so what you do, you go to StartMeeting.com. All right, go over to StartMeeting.com, okay? And here's what you do. You log in, you sign up now. Now here's the cool thing about this is it's free, okay? And so when you first start up, when you first sign up, you're going to get this right here. Okay, nice thing is I migrated all my coaching clients now to say this, you just turn these all off. Turn them all off. You don't need any of those services out the gate. Okay? And then you hit next. Okay? And I'll just do this real quick, just for the sake of demonstration. Okay? Now here's the cool thing. You can register, and here's what I would do. Here's what you do for your building your infrastructure. As you get coaching clients, okay, you register each one of your coaching clients with their own private line. And how you get the private line is you use the exact same email address, but you use a different password for each coaching client. Okay? So let's say this is a coaching client. So ELI, I'm going to use the password ELI Okay. I'm not going to tell you what the password is, obviously. Okay. Family friend, blah, blah, blah. I agree with the terms, and done. And then it's going to give you your own line, okay? Your own phone number. Okay, the phone number is pretty much is the same for everything. The only thing that are different is the meeting ID and the host PIN code. Okay? And so you can do this for each one of your coaching clients, so everybody has their own private line. You don't have to manage calls. You don't have to email them the call. They can simply log in with their own password and get their own calls. It's a great system, and it's free, which is even better. Next, you want to create your scripts. You need email scripts. And in the Facebook group, I posted the email scripts up there. Okay, I've given it all away. All right, so if you go back to the trainer website, and let's see here, you go up to File section, right? This is someplace you want to become very familiar with. Every trainer call that's recorded every day is added to this spreadsheet. Okay? And you can simply preview it. And all you got to do every day, the calls are up here. Okay? These are going to be also in the trainer website once we get it built. But if you want to listen, whoa, hello, slow down, Sparky. If you want to listen to the call, you simply click on the link. When you click on the link, up comes the call. Starts playing. And guess what? You can download the call right here. You create your own database of calls. Okay? Next is on the Facebook files, there are scripts here. There's the trainer manual. There's the daily trainer call assignment. There is the, if you want to pitch silver on the phone, here's the script for it. If you want to pitch gold on the phone, here's the script for it. The start meeting hosting instructions are right here. Okay. Here's the script by word forward script for a chunk called Mindset of a Sales Champion. Okay. Here's the PowerPoint. Speaker template. If you're going to be a guest speaker, here's the template that you send out to them. Social media. Here's social media scripts. If you want to learn that 8 groups, what you need to do with the 8 groups, the step-by-step instructions are right here. Okay. Here's the scripts, the email scripts for the video series. Okay. Word-for-word scripts that you can customize for yourself. So this is what you're going to do the first 30 days. You're going to get your infrastructure in place because you don't want to go back and do it on the fly. I'm trying to save you time. I had to figure this out myself, and I'm going to save you a ton of time and money. Okay, so get your scripts. Next is you want to order up your own ELI business cards. Okay, and I'll be putting how you do that. I negotiated actually Angie Newberg. We owe this all to Angie. Okay, she worked with a graphic designer and she created a really, really professionally done ELI trainer business card. And it looks like this. Okay, it's a very awesome card. Okay, and the nice thing is you can get 250 of them for $40 and you get free shipping. You can get 500 of them for $44, free shipping. You can get 1,000 of them for $48 or $52 or something like that. But cheap, okay, or inexpensive as we say in sales, right? You want to put your own email address, your own website, your own address, okay? You can call your title whatever you want. It's your business, okay? My advice would be look forward long term. Even though you're starting out with an ELI branded trainer business, you're going to grow just like Eric Laughlin did, right? So when Jim Rohn worked for Tony Robbins, or Tony Robbins worked for Jim Rohn, he started off as representing Jim Rohn, then ultimately built Tony Robbins. the brand of Tony Robbins, right? Eric Lofholm started with Tony Robbins, and ultimately he built Eric Lofholm International. John Pyron is starting off with Eric Lofholm International, but is ultimately building John Pyron Coaching and Consulting. So think long-term when you're picking your own domain, your own website domain. Very important infrastructure investment. Okay? I'm excited about this. This is like step by step how to build a business. All right, let's go where are we at? All right, so we talked about that. Next, own your own PowerPoint. Okay? So I will be uploading, and you will find them in the ELI Facebook group. You want to create, hold on. Create 3 main PowerPoints. Okay? One is the beliefs and modeling chunks. It's all in the trainer manual. Next one is embracing sales and baseline. Next thing is embracing sales mountain and what level exercise. Now, each one of the presentations ends with the what level exercise. The reason you want 3 main presentations is depending on the type of group you're speaking to will determine the content. And what I discovered after giving over 100 talks is it really has come down to 3 presentations that I tweak and modify for every one. And that's it. So I've created a system with the presentations. I'm going to upload them into the Facebook group. Okay, and then take them and run with them. Here's the key to your PowerPoint. You want to edify and absolutely make Eric Lofholm look like Tony Robbins. Okay, I learned this the hard way. I had a very high close ratio when I was delivering a front of the room talk or a webinar because I was closing on Silver Protege. And I did an excellent job throughout the presentation of making Eric a big deal. Edifying Eric, you know, he's the greatest thing since sliced bread, etc. I learned by mistake when I started switching my presentation to make it more about John Pyron. Now, if I had a John Pyron product that I was closing on at the end of my presentation, no problem. But throughout my presentation, I was making myself out to be a big deal, and then I was trying to close on an Eric Lofholm product, and they didn't have any idea the value of Eric Lofholm. And so my close ratio went almost down to nothing. I ran several presentations where, in my opinion, I delivered one of the best talks I ever did, but I closed nothing. And I was scratching my head going, what the heck? And then I went and saw a guy named Scott Gass, who's a Tony Robbins trainer. And there was 25 people in the room. And I watched him give a talk. And Tony Robbins was the flavor of the day. I mean, he was a big deal all throughout the presentation. What's funny is Scott was doing intro outcomes, chunk 1, chunk 2, chunk 3, call to action. I mean, he followed it to the T. But when he got to the end in his close, he was closing on a $995 ticket to the Tony Robbins event, and 10 people bought. And I'm like, I got it. I have learned my problem. It's not about John Pyron if I'm closing on Silver Protege. It's about Eric Lofholm. And so now I've tweaked my PowerPoint, and the talks I'm doing now, I'm closing a whole lot more as a result of that change. So keep that in mind, that if you want to build an ELI trainer business, hold on. Something going on with my mouse here. One second. Okay. One second. For some reason, there we go. All right, we're back. Okay. All right, Roleplay Friday. Okay, Roleplay Friday is very important. Okay, this is where you can role play your presentation. So from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock Pacific time on Friday, we have Roleplay Friday. This is how you register. You go to bit.ly/ELI Friday, all lowercase. So bit.ly/ELI Friday. Here's another tip for infrastructure, is you want to go to bit.ly and get your own bit.ly account. It's free. You'll be able to create your own customized links there. Another infrastructure investment. On Roleplay Friday, you can practice your scripts. You can practice your webinar presentation. You can role play with me, and I'll give you live coaching. It's your 15 minutes to do whatever you want with it. Next, let's talk about lead generation. Okay, go back and listen to Silver Protege. Absolutely master Module 2, which is all about lead generation. This is exactly what I did when I was building my ELI trainer business from scratch. I sat down and made a list of all the people I paid money to. I went and contacted them, and I ran group presentations. Next, contact friends and relatives. My very first ELI trainer presentation was I called up a friend who had a sales team, and I said, hey, Carmen, can I come and speak to your sales team? She said, sure. I did not know what to do. And I'll explain what you do here in a minute when that happens. So I went and spoke to her team, didn't sell anything, came back, made a list of people I paid money to. I paid a company to do the windows on my house. They had a sales team, called them up because I am their client. And I said, hey, Rich, can I come speak to your sales team? He said, sure. Went out and spoke to a sales team. Within 2 weeks of actually starting to build my trainer business, I closed one Silver Protege, which taught me a very good lesson. I didn't know what I was doing, but I closed a Silver Protege, so the system obviously works. And if I can close one, I can close two. If I can close two, I can close four. And if you take a penny and you double it for 30 days, it's $5.4 million. Third talk was the company that did the roof on my house. And they did the roof on my house, and what ended up happening is I went out and spoke to his team of 45 salespeople. I didn't know what I was doing, but I just did what Eric told me to do. And I closed 34 of them and walked out of there with a $10,166 check. And that was like 6 weeks into being a trainer. Okay. Next is a POI strategy. In Silver Protege, Eric does a phenomenal job of explaining POI strategy. You want to implement that lead generation system right away. Next is LinkedIn. If you go into the Facebook, you will see a video that's a step-by-step video on how to generate leads from LinkedIn. It's also going to be up on the trainer website. Give away free talks and webinars. Webinar doesn't cost you anything. You can get a GoToMeeting account or a GoToWebinar account for free for the first 30 days. You can be doing a webinar as soon as next week. You can be doing a webinar on Monday if you want. Well, Monday's a holiday, but you can do it on Tuesday. You can do a conference call. You can do a free talk. There's chamber events. There are networking events. They're always looking for guest speakers. You can do free talks, and you can book talks off of that. You can generate leads from your free talks. It's a great system, and you should generate it right away. Next is reciprocal referrals. Here's the relationships you want to develop. And I want you to target developing these very specific, focused relationships over the next 30 days. Find a real estate broker. Find a mortgage broker. Find an insurance agent that focuses on business insurance. Find anybody in the cell phone industry, anybody in the solar industry. Because those are the targets you're going to go after, and you can sit down and go, listen, I'm going to give you 3 leads every month. and I'm going to want 3 leads back. You sit down, obviously the conversation is going to be a lot more pleasant than that, but for the sake of time, the bottom line is you want to sit down and you want to work out a relationship where you have a standing appointment every single month for the purpose of giving each other leads. I have a good friend of mine who's in the insurance industry. His name is Jim. I sit down with Jim on the first Thursday of every single month. We have coffee. I bring him 5 leads. He brings me 5 leads. A ton of my group presentations, my consulting contracts, I picked up a $75,000 consulting contract last year because of that strategy right there. I sat down with Jim. I said, I'm looking for a team of sales people that I can go speak to. He said, contact zoograb.com. Contacted zoograb.com. They found out what I did. They actually built their entire sales infrastructure. Called up Eric. I said, hey, this is what I'm going to do. I took 5 months, actually I took 4 months off from August of last year to the end of November, and I worked 10 hours a week, made 75 grand over 4 months, and I built their infrastructure with Eric's coaching. And basically, I just duplicated silver, gold, and platinum inside their business. I was only working 10 hours a week. I was having the time of my life. It was supposed to be a 6-month contract, and the Wednesday before, or the Thursday before Thanksgiving, they pulled the plug on me and 5 other contractors. Okay? But because of that experience, when they did pull the plug, I had something to fall back on, in which every single one of us do, and that is you can build an ELI trainer business. Okay? So you want to get your lead generation systems in place within the first 30 days and go back to Silver Protege, and it'll give you step-by-step instructions how to do it. Last, and we're coming to the home stretch, you want to be repeatable. And what does that mean? Let me tell you a story about the great Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice played for the San Francisco 49ers in the heyday when they were winning Super Bowl after Super Bowl after Super Bowl. Jerry Rice, in the history books, is one of the greatest athletes of all time. There is, in all circles, everybody will point to Jerry Rice because of his work ethic, and he was absolutely 100% repeatable. And so he had certain routes that he would run, and he would just practice them over and over and over and over and over again. In fact, a true story about Jerry Rice was told by Steve Young. Steve Young was telling a columnist one time, he says, Jerry Rice's work ethic is amazing. It's unbelievable. Okay, it's almost not human. And he was kind of weird that way. While other people were out partying after a Super Bowl one year, taking time off, going home, being with their families, Jerry Rice was out running routes. And how Steve Young tells me, he came back to the stadium. This is like 2 days after they won the Super Bowl. And Steve had forgotten something in his locker, and he came back to get it out of his locker, and he noticed the stadium lights were on. And curious, obviously, he walks out into the stadium, and guess who's out there running routes? It's Jerry Rice. There was no coach out there with him. There was no mentor. Okay? There was no Eric Lofholm or John Pyron out there telling him what to do. There's a hidden message there, by the way. It was Jerry Rice on his own practicing his route because he was an absolute dogmatically focused on being a master at it. And I'll tell you this, if you start off right now and you work at it with that same work ethic, you master lead generation, you master appointment setting, you master marketing touches, you absolutely become a student of this system and become a master at it. I can drop your butt off in some remote location with nothing but a cell phone and the trainer manual, and you'll be able to succeed. And if you think about the power of that, once you've mastered the system, all you've got to do is run it a little bit. The hard part will be over. And you can enjoy the benefits for the rest of your life. See, I just proved that over the last 5.5 months. My income went down to $600. And because I had been a student of Eric's, because I had learned the trainer program, because I had had success, because I had learned those principles, I had two choices. Go get a job, which is what my wife asked me to do, or get to work. And I chose to get to work. I told her flat out, Christmas is going to be very anemic. Okay? There were days where, you know what? We were looking around for coins under the couch so we could put gas in the car. I'm not kidding you. It was a struggle, but I refused to go get a job. Instead, I focused on my presentations instead of, you know, because I didn't have any money. I couldn't go out and do the stuff I had been doing. And I look back and I'm like, wait, I built $1 million company. I sold it in June of last year, but yeah, I paid off a ton, hundreds of thousands of dollars in business debt, and it's not like I had all the cash flow in the world going on. I didn't foresee my contract being canceled. And so things went down to zero, and I decided to use a Jerry Rice principle and just absolutely be dogmatic about mastering the art of being repeatable. So if you want to be repeatable, here's what you need to do. And we're literally almost to the last slide. Number one, generate leads. Become an absolute dogmatic master about generating leads. Have 10 lead generation systems running simultaneously. It's not just something Eric talks about. It's a lot of work to generate those. But once you get them in place, they're in place. You only have to do the hard part once. So being repeatable is every single day, take time out, put an appointment in your calendar. I have a standing appointment every single morning from 7 to 7:30 to generate leads and do my marketing touches. And I show up to the appointment. Next is I set up times and appointments in my calendar to book appointments. And I show up to that appointment and I run the scripts and I book appointments. Next is I run those appointments. Then you close on silver. Then you offer them coaching. And so be repeatable. So every single week you should be able to say your numbers. I should be able to, if I was coaching you one-on-one, the first thing I would ask you on a coaching session, how many leads did you generate over the last 7 days? How many marketing touches did you do? How many appointments did you book? How many appointments did you run? And how many sales did you make? And if the numbers weren't good, we wouldn't be doing any other coaching other than fixing that. Because at the end of the day, if you don't do that consistently, if you don't become a Jerry Rice in this business, you're not going to have a business. And I know this is a strong message, but I'm just giving it to you straight. I want you to be able to succeed, and I think that by telling you exactly what you need to hear, not what you want to hear, I think it's serving both of us. And so the bottom line is dream the dream and build the team. It's your dream, not my dream, not Eric Slothholm's dream, not your wife's dream or your spouse's or your husband's dream. It's your dream. And you need a team in order to build a big business. Like I said, November last year, income went down to $600. Today, it's well over 10 grand, and I'm hiring my very first employee next week. And then I'm going to hire another one in July. Why? Because I've built a business before. And I'm going to run that system. I'm going to teach you guys how to do it step by step. If you ever want to contact me for any reason, send me an email. It's up on the screen, johnpyron.com. Or you can text me or call me on my cell phone, which is 765-2596, area code 916. Or you can email me at jpyron@johnpyron.com. Every single trainer is entitled to one free coaching session from me. And you can book that by going to johnpyron.com And there is a link there where you can book a free coaching session. I will give you a free coaching session. Whether you're a brand new trainer or you've been around, if you've never had a coaching session with me, I will give you a half-hour coaching session for free. I hope you got a lot out of this webinar today, and I am excited about your future. It's time to go out and make it happen. Today is the first day of the rest of your life, and only you can make it happen. It's your business, it's your dream, and the ball's in your court. Have a great day.